We need to unashamedly accept encouragement and even be bold enough to call for it. One more passage on this real quick. 2 Timothy chapter 4. So, again, this seems like weakness. 2 Timothy 4, verse 9. It's just one example in this passage, but it seems like weakness, does it not? Do your best to come to me soon. Why? Demas is gone. He flamed out, deserted me. Right? Crescens has gone to Galatia. Titus to Dalmatia. Luke alone is with me. Now I got Luke, but I need you. Right? Get Mark and bring him with you. Right? He's very useful to me in ministry. I mean, here is Paul going, I need you. I got Luke. Timothy, please come. And can you bring Mark? And then I need stuff. Verse 13. When you come, bring the cloak I left with Carpus at Troas. Also the books, and above all the parchments. Please bring scriptures and bring my books and bring a cloak and bring people. I need you. I mean, this is, I think for most people, like it's unexpected that the Apostle Paul would need this kind of stuff. Matter of fact, he's given him time frames. Drop down to verse 21 at the end of the book. Do your best to come to me. I said, come to me soon, but can you get here before winter? And I need that cloak, right? So help me out here. Some of you are afraid to tell someone you need a meal in your small group. Some of you are afraid to tell someone you're going into the hospital because you don't want to trouble anybody. Stop it. Stop. That's the whole point of the Christian life. I would not want to deprive you of the opportunity of comforting me by not letting you know what my needs are. You follow what I'm saying here? It's not right. Deliberately encourage Christians, but unashamedly accept encouragement. Back to our text here, verse 5. Acts chapter 20, verse 5 and 6. These went on ahead and were waiting for us at Troas. We sailed away from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, the feast of Passover. And in 5 days we came to them at Troas, where we stayed for 7 days. Okay, it just seems like, okay, thanks for your calendar. But at least it allows us to know that there are things in Paul's life, in this case, that temporarily separate him from his comrades. And we see in his letters that there are some things that separate him from his comrades, not for days, but for months, sometimes for years. And as we saw him almost with desperation in 2 Timothy 4, he's saying, I need you here. He says to the Thessalonians, I long to see your face. I want to be there. I'm bereft. That's the verb, right? At least some English translations translate it that way. I was cleft from you. I was torn away from you. I want to be back face to face with you. That is going to happen. And sometimes it happens, and like we're going to see later in chapter 20, sometimes he knows, I'm never going to see you again. And they weep on each other's shoulders, saying, we're going to be bereft for the rest of this life. And that's hard. But here's the thing. You see this adverb at the beginning of number 3 on your worksheet. We need to be courageous in the face of that kind of separation. Number 3, courageously expect disruptions. And the reason I chose that word is I thought about that sailing from Philippi to Troas. You know how long that should take? Well, we know from chapter 16. You can go from Troas to Philippi in 2 days. It took them 5 days. So that meant they had trouble on the way. They must have had headwinds. They must have had, it was hard. We're going to see a lot of the boat rides that Paul takes, he's going to have trouble in. But the point is, there's delays that you don't expect. And there are things that separate you from the people that are your encouragement and that you're given to encourage. And I just want to think about it in the second category of the sermon, and that is, these men were an encouragement to Paul. They were serving a practical purpose in so many ways that the background of this text would inform you on, but the point is, they're an encouragement to Paul, they're a help to Paul, they're a practical help, they're a spiritual help, they're an emotional help to Paul. And Paul has some of these people just torn out of his life. Sometimes for reasons that are just purposeful, and it's a decision that he makes. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes he even says, there are people in my life, as he tells the Philippians, that I don't want to leave me, and they're sick, and they might die, and if they were to die, it would be grief upon grief. Here,